Do you know if there's a certain number of recruits that are looking to sign in this class?
No, because the number, I mean, last year in this class, the number 25 is irrelevant. Like it's not existent. If you wanted to sign 43 high school kids, you can, as long as you were at 85. And so that number, it could be 22, it could be 27. I think it depends on who wants to come, who wants in. I don't think Tennessee's just going to take a body to take a body, because ultimately I think you'd rather take some of those spots that maybe used to go to some guys that were developmental guys and go to the portal and try to pluck a player or two who has a year or two in a college weight room, who has a year or two experience playing at the college level. So I don't think there's a set number.
In your opinion, Austin, just how does that factor into recruiting rankings now, where you're going to see some teams take 22, 23 and not, find those developmental bodies, whereas you'll see teams like Georgia that don't utilize the transfer portal quite as much. I think they're already sitting at 26 commits. They may end up out to 30. Does that change the way that people should look at recruiting rankings now?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think a lot of it fluctuates. I thought last year's class, which was a fringe, right outside the top 10-ish class for Tennessee, was better than, a class 2 years ago that was ranked sixth, at other schools. I thought, last year the depth, was the depth of the classes that were ranked in the top 10 or just outside the top 10 was really, really good. And so I do think that some of that can be optics. I had one person tell me the other day, that the one SEC coach, when I don't want to name names, but one SEC coach, when they were in this league, they were like, hey, let's take this guy. Optically, he's going to help the class. He's going to help us get to number one in recruiting, even though he doesn't fit our style of play. We'll just throw him back in a year or two, they don't when a kid transfers, they don't re-rank the recruiting classes. So like when they go up and say school X has had the number one recruiting class, 3 of the last 4 years or whatever, like it's an optic that kids and parents see and they want to be a part of. So, I think it's interesting. I think optics matter. They're not an end all be all, but I do think that for kids, for parents, for people that are watching this type of thing, they absolutely do matter.
Got another one here from Swagger 12. Matt, we'll go to you. Does this seem to be any type of consistent reason Tennessee's losing recruits in these one-on-one matchups, especially after leading Tennessee Clemson, Tennessee LSU, Tennessee Alabama?
No, I don't think so. I think we've alluded to it a pretty good bit. They're in big-time heavyweight recruiting battles right now, and these things turn on the dime at times for reasons, that folks may never know. But, again, I think Tennessee's won some of those battles. You look at the Mike Matthews, they were never the leader until they were, and then they were the leader and they held on. They didn't lose out on Edwin Spillman. They didn't lose out on Boo Carter. Those were head-to-head battles with Michigan and Ohio State, both teams that were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I mean, you look back a year ago, they beat out beat out Alabama for Arion Carter. They beat out Georgia and Alabama for David Hobbs. Ricky Gibson, Georgia late, made a big push, and Tennessee, wins that battle. All of those players are in this program, and certainly Tennessee feels like are going to help them in a big, big way. And so, everybody's different. Sometimes it is an NIL, matchup. Sometimes it's a matchup of academics. Sometimes it's, an outside influence, whether it be a 7-on-7 coach or a high school coach or the mom and dad or a grandma that, just says, I really like the overall deal at school X or at school Y. And, and then sometimes a kid just goes, even though 14 people in my family are telling me to go this place, I really want to go here, and it's my decision. I'm the one waking up at 6 a.m. to do these workouts, so I'm going here. Like everything and it is different, and so like it's never just as simple as some on the GQ or fans on Twitter or whatever want to make it to believe. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's as black and white as it looks, and then sometimes it's absolutely not.
I think Ricky Gibson's a good one to point back to. 10 days out from that decision last year, Georgia had every bit of the momentum.
Yep.
And he ended up in Knoxville.